I would note this chart on the right, which shows for the last 18 years that there's been no significant warming whatsoever. Now that's directly contrary to what the data set showed. Now, Dr. Titley, I noticed in your written testimony that you took a moment to address what you described as the so-called pause in global temperatures. By the pause, are you referring to the last 18 years of no significant recorded warming?
Well, unlike your previous witness, I am not referring to the 1940s. It is, I thought you'd like that.
Indeed.
Yes, the pause is very interesting. As you know, sir, 1998, big El Nino. So it's kind of interesting we started 18 years. We don't look at a 15-year data set or a 10-year data set or a 20-year data set. We look at an 18-year data set. But even if you do that, that's fine. Let's look at that. We have, this is low budget here. I got to do my own charts. Thanks, Amanda.
Well, let me take a moment on.
So here's, sir, just to answer your question, Senator, here was 1998, and here's today. So on me, I mean, I'm just a simple sailor, but it's hard for me to see the pause on that chart. So I think the pause is kind of come and gone.
Do you dispute the satellite measurement?
Let's not talk about the satellite. Here's
but
okay,
sir,
well,
I'm asking, do you dispute? I understand that the global warming alarmists don't want to talk about the satellite
sure,
data,
I'll
but
talk
I'm
about
asking.
the satellite. Let's talk about the satellite measurements. Let's talk about orbital decay. Let's talk about overlapping satellite records. Let's talk about stratospheric temperature contamination. I think Dr. Christie and Dr. Spencer, when they've put this out, they have been wrong, I think, at least 4 consecutive times. Each time the data record has had to be adjusted upwards. There have been several sign errors. So when, with all due respect, sir, I don't know which data exactly your staff has, whether it's the first or second or third or fourth correction to Dr. Christie's data. We used to have a negative trend, then we had no trend, and now we begrudgingly have an upward trend. So looking at those data, you know, it's okay. But here's where we live.
Let me see if I can understand. The first argument you gave in response to this, and it is an argument that a number of the global warming alarmists use, is they say, well, 18 years ago was El Nino, and it's arbitrary to begin there. And I will confess, I don't understand that argument, because we have 18 years of no significant warming. So if you don't like an 18-year window, we can start in 1999. There's no significant warming for 7 years. If you don't like a 17-year window, we can start in 2000. Then we don't have a significant warming. It is true for any date across those 18 years. So I fail to see the significance.
Actually, Senator, it's not. If you take off that top really big spike and you take that out, you start getting the upward bias. And this is what people do when you start looking at these relatively arbitrary times, is you start with a really high number at the left-hand side, and that kind of influences your basically your linear trend. So when you start looking at things like every decade, you have an upward trend in the data, and that's from the World Meteorological Organization.
And I would note, you asked about the source of the data on the right chart. It's actually not Dr. Christie's data. It's the remote sensing systems, the RSS data that is on there.